Hey everybody, this is S. Anthony Thomas. This is the S. Anthony Thomas Show. I told you I'd be here on Thursdays, but unfortunately I'm not at home. I'm going to have to record this on my phone so I could actually get this episode out when I said I would, and I'm going to tell you the same story I would have told you anyway. So here we go. And this is a California story. I'm in New Jersey right now, but this is well, I live in New Jersey now. This is a California story, and I don't have anything against any kind of specific dog breed. I really don't. I don't have anything against pit bulls. I love all dogs. But when I was 13 years old, I had an internship with the zoo. I played with all the animals. I was one of those people when you go to the zoo where the person holds the boa constrictor around their neck and they walk around and everybody gets to pet the boa constrictor. And I held the boa constrictor. I was one of those people, right? So I love animals, right? And for the most part, animals love me. But there's certain animals, and just like people, animals have personalities. Just like most people can like you, but there's always that one person that hates your guts and you didn't even do anything to that person. Well, animals are just like that, and this is a California story. S. Anthony in Los Angeles. I had a bunch of neighbors, and I don't know how this worked out, but they all had pit bulls that were roughly the same age, roughly the same size. They had the same color. They had similar color markings on their stomach. Their barks sounded the same. I mean, I don't know if they all went into the same place and got the same litter, but they all had a dog that sounded like that, right? And I walked around the neighborhood. Now in LA, before I got my car, I had to walk around a lot. Then I got my car. But sometimes you walk anyway because you're like, I don't feel like unparking the car. Let me just walk to the store or whatever, right? And I would walk by, and they, like I said, they live right next to each other. So you'd have to walk past all the dogs. And at first they're all, right? But what happens is dogs remember things. And I was one of the only people that didn't tease the dog and run up to the gate like I was going to hit the dog, pretend like I was going to give the dog food and not give it. I didn't do any of that crap. So after a while, the dogs stopped being mad at me because they compared the way I behaved towards them, which is just walking and minding my business, and the way some of the school kids and some of the other adults walking by being a-holes to the dog. So as it turns out, the dogs would not bark at me. Okay, one would, but the rest would not. And I didn't think much of it at the time. Unfortunately, as people do, sometimes the dogs would get out and they'd be running around. And it was like a horror movie. Everybody, yeah! And they'd run around and the dog would chase them up on the car and chase them into the tree, chase them back up into the house, making that sound. Everybody chop them up and eat them. Those dogs wanted to eat them. Those dogs didn't want to just bite you. They wanted to eat you. But as I said before, I was one of the few people that didn't tease the dogs, never did that, never liked to do that. And one time I walked outside, I just got on shorts and a t-shirt. I don't even have my shoes on. Luckily, I still had my keys in my hand. Sometimes you leave your key in the door because, you're only running down to put the trash out. It's not that big of a deal. And I saw one of the pit bulls that was chasing people. And the only thing I can think is I run pretty fast at that age. Can I get into the house before this dog gets to me? And the answer is, of course not. And I'm like, good Lord, at the very minimum, I'm going to get chewed up and be in the hospital. He might even kill me. I don't believe this stuff. And the dog looked at me like, got him. Oh, that's the one that doesn't tease me. And he barked, and he backed up while he was barking. And I said, let me see if I can move before he chased me. And I started moving towards the door. And he was literally barking at me. Under normal circumstances, when he had an opportunity like that, he's trying to eat people. And the dog didn't try to eat me. He just barked at me. It was like the dog was like, look, I'm going to warn you first before I eat you. You were nice to me, so I'm going to give you a warning and let you get back in the house. If you were anybody else, I'd eat you, but you seem like a nice guy, so I'm going to warn you. Now, granted, if you don't get in the house in a couple seconds, I'm definitely going to eat you, but I'm going to give you a chance. And I said, thank you, dog. And I went back into the house. And then some other idiot runs up the alley. The dog tries to eat him, but he gets back in his car fast enough. Right? And it happened again, and it happened again, and it happened again. And I realized, wait a second, it's not even the same dog. It's a couple of the dogs. It's 3 of the dogs. It's 4 of the dogs, all of which have decided that they were going to warn me and not eat me. And just like anything else, sometimes you get a little full of yourself and you realize the dogs have grown a little bit fond of you. They'd eat you if they really had to, but they don't really want to, right? And I knew that was the case when the dog goes, "Ah, da, 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 da," and I'm in between the trash can and my door, and I'm going, I'm going to see if I can still put this trash in the can. I mean, the worst case scenario, I'll just pull the trash can on top of me because it's actually closer to me than the door. So I go to the trash can and the dog's looking at me like, "Ah, da, 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 da. I'm warning you." And I'm like, okay, I just want to put this trash out. Okay, hurry up, put the trash out. But if you don't go back in the house, I'd have to put the trash and I'm eating you. And I put the trash in the can and the dog goes, "There you go, get back in the house." And he lets me go back into the house. And I'm not even running back into the house. I'm casually strolling back into the house. I'm walking back into the house casually as if I was saying hello to somebody that I knew while I was walking back in the house. The dog didn't give a crap. And once again, somebody comes up the alley, another idiot trying to, and the dog chases him. Guy jumps up on top of a tree, jumps on top of a house, climbs down the other side of the house and runs away. Ooh, interesting. But once again, as I said before, there was one dog that kept the barking. One dog that kept barking. And this dog was none of them warning dogs. This was a eat your dog. And fortunately for me, I was halfway down my steps with the door still open. And this dog comes up to me and he's running towards the step. And I'm thinking he's going to stop. And I realize this mama blamma ain't stopping. So I run back into the house and the dog runs up, hits his hand on the door. I'm like, I thought we was cool. The dog goes, "That was the other ones, idiot. They warn you before they eat you. I don't warn nothing, Jack." And I go, "You rotten mother jumper," right? And his owner comes and gets him and apologizes. And I'm going, "Don't apologize. Make sure he stays in the house because he almost ate me, damn it." Right? But the bad part about that dog was the bad part about that dog was after a while, after getting so close to eating me and so close to eating other people, he was smart enough to realize he could trick people. Did you know there's some, I think it's lions or tigers, I forgot, but one of those big cats has evolved, and I'm not kidding about this, has evolved the ability to mimic the sound of cows. I saw this. I don't know if it was a joke video, but even if it was, I don't know. I haven't done enough research to see if it was a joke video or not. But in the video, these lions, I think it was lions, were literally going, "Meow, meow." They had evolved, unless it was a joke, the ability to moo like cows. So basically, they're just laying around or whatever animal they would take. Hey, other cows. I don't see a cow, but let's go over there and walk around and see. I mean, granted, we're a whole bunch of cows over here. We have a bunch of cows, and it sounds like there's a cow over there. I mean, he's close enough where he can't possibly be lost. He's not in distress. So, but let's walk over there anyway, and they get eaten. Well, I think this dog had picked up that trick, right? Because some of the other people on the block had also known that under normal circumstances, these dogs would warn you before they ate you. But then the dog that eats you before he warns you started to pick up on the tricks. And he would have gotten a couple of people, but he got a little too full of himself, right? He got a little too slick, right? People are walking out and we take a peek, we see the dog, and we try to decipher whether or not it was the eat you dog or the warn you dogs. Couldn't tell because they all looked the same, right? But because I was the one that had the most interaction with the warn you dogs, I started noticing physical differences. I could now tell the difference between the warn you dog and the eat you dog because I got a good close-up look at the eat you dog when he banged his head on my door trying to eat me. I got a good look at that piece of crap, and I noticed there was a black spot right under his head. He was the only one that had to spot that piece of crap, so I knew which one it was, right? And he had already had his little game plan trying to lure people outside to eat him. But I knew the trick, that piece of crap. I looked down the steps. I saw the little mark on his neck. And I now knew he was trying to trick me outside so he could eat me. That piece of crap. Outside talking about, rah, 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 rah. Yeah. Boy, I hope somebody comes outside because I'm definitely not going to eat them. I know that much. No, there won't be any people eating out here. Definitely going to make sure I warn everybody before I eat them because I'm definitely not the one that eats people. I know that much, boy. I tell you, I'm just going to sit here and be passive and not eat people, right? He was so slick. He actually let a couple people walk past him right? Small people, not enough to eat, right? He wanted some big people to eat so we could have a full meal of people eating. So we let a couple of small people walk by, let a couple of kids walk by, and I'm going, okay, I see what the trick is. I see the black spot, punk. You ain't fooling me. But other people were fooled. And I said, no, don't go out there and look for the black spot. The black spot on the neck is the dog that doesn't warn you. They were like, oh, come on, man. There's 5 warn your dogs and 1 eat your dogs. What are the odds, right? I'm telling you right now, dude, don't go downstairs. What do you know, Buster? And he goes down the steps and the dog's downstairs and I see the black spot on his neck. And you figured the dude would know something was up because the dog got up on his back legs and put a bib on. And I don't know where he held or where he kept that knife and fork that he had in his paws. I don't know, but he damn sure had them. And I yelled downstairs, do you not see the dog with a bib on and he's got a knife and fork? Do you not see that? I mean, he's basically saying, without saying it, he's going to eat you. You don't know what he's talking about. Maybe that's one of those cute little bibs that dog owners put on their dogs. You know, like they put on jackets and stuff like that. And a knife and fork. It's close to Halloween. Maybe it's just a Halloween costume or something like that. I know that much. Oh, I tried to warn the dumb bastard, right? And the dog says, why don't you come a little closer? I'm definitely not going to eat you. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait a second. The dog just pulled out a bottle of A1 sauce. Do you not see this coming? He's got a bottle of A1 sauce. He's got a bib on and a knife and fork. Don't you see that? Come on now. Look, he's got one of those. He's got a pepper grinder there. What you don't see this coming? You don't see this, right? And he goes downstairs, and the dog's like, I'm definitely not going to eat you, anything like that. Right? And what happens? He goes downstairs. The dog damn near eats him. Takes a nice big bite of his buttocks. He swings around. The dog hits the back of his truck. The dog falls off. Right? The dog would have attacked him again, but he had to go back and pick up his knife and fork because he was trying to eat him. And the guy runs up the steps with a big teeth marks in his ass, and I'm saying, see? He goes, hey, man, is this not? I said, I tried to warn you, but you did not see the A1 sauce, the plate, the knife and fork, the bib, and the damn pepper grinder. You didn't see that, dummy. Right? Unfortunately, he wasn't hurt that bad. Well, he was not hurt that bad. I mean, it hurt, but he wasn't hurt as bad. He didn't need to get a really good ass. It probably hurt him more when the doctors were laughing at him because I had to take him to the hospital. I took him to the ER, and he said, could you stay with me? I said, hey, why don't you have a seat? And he goes, that's not funny. You know I can't sit down and I've got bit in the ass. I was like, yeah, I tried to warn you, dumbass. Right? The doctor comes out there, whatever. Pitbull bit me on the ass. A pitbull bit you on the ass. He goes, yeah, man. I said, yeah, doc, you know what happened was he was out there and the pit bull had a bib on, his A1 sauce, his knife and fork, and the pepper grinder and a plate. And he goes, don't you know that when you walk outside, if a pit bull has a plate, a knife, and a fork, a bib on, a pepper grinder, and A1 sauce, he's going to bite you on the ass? You're not familiar with that pit bull breed, Caionicus A1 Sausicus? It's a dog. It's a new breed of pit bulls that likes to put A1 sauce on your ass before they bite you. You know, it's good. I just did an interview with the news. It's a new breed of the pit bull that was bred by the A1 sauce factory. Something happened, and somehow some A1 sauce got in the DNA, and the dog puts A1 sauce on your ass before he bites you. Well, now you know. And then you see he walks in the back, and you can hear the nurses and the doctors. Hey, you got bitten in the ass by a dog with A1 sauce on his ass. Hey, you mean the Caionicus A1 Sausicus? Yeah. Well, I had a couple of those people. Is he living there where S. Anthony lives? Yeah, he does live there where S. Anthony. Didn't S. Anthony want him? Yeah, S. Anthony wanted him, but he went outside and got his ass bit with the A1 sauce on it anyway. Oh, man. They would be, yeah. So listen, people, I just want, it's not just my job and my pleasure and my honor to entertain you. I also want to warn you, man. You know, if it's your dog, a lot of times you're not afraid of the dog because, of course, the dog's not going to do anything to you. You feed the dog. You house the dog. The dog considers you part of its pack, part of its family, right? Like I said, I have a neighbor who has, at the time, who had another dog. I forgot what the breed was, but just as vicious as a pit bull could be. I'm not saying all pit bulls are vicious. A lot of the times, most of the time, it's how the pit bull is raised. I get it. But this dog was the kind of dog that literally could eat you and the pit bull at the same time while watching television. But because I knew the dude, and I knew the dude since he had the dog when the dog was still a puppy, as vicious as that dog was when he sees me, is essentially, I guess the dog kind of considers me its. Like, you know, how people always go, they talk about, like, say, I would go to a friend's house and his wife would call the dog, like the wife would see the dog playing with her husband, and she goes, "See, Daddy's having a great time with you." Or if the dog was playing with the wife, he would go, "Yeah, that's right, having a good time with Mommy." So they would actually treat the dog like it was the dog was their kid. And I would go over, "Hey, Uncle Les Anthony's here." And I'm like, all right, I'll play along as long as the dog don't bite me in the throat. And the dog would come running up, hey, vacation, sit in my lap. It's a big ass dog, male sitting in your lap. That's how big the damn dog was. But so when I got so used to the dog, even as big as it was, and the ability to be vicious, I was so used to the dog that I didn't consider the dog a threat at all. It never occurred to me. It's the same as if you have a friend that's like, say you have a friend that's a kung fu expert that carries guns with him, and you grew up with him, and he's a best friend of yours, and he's never even thought of whipping your ass, but you've seen him whip people's ass, and you know he could whip ass, but he'd never whip your ass. Why are you so afraid of my 6'8" friend wearing his kung fu outfit with blood on it with the two guns he has on his waist? You guys act like, I mean, that's just Bill. You guys are weird, man. You guys are acting weird, man. I know he came into the house. He didn't even use the door. He just literally punched his way through the wall and then shot into the air 16 times going yee-hoo, 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 and then sat down with blood on his shirt. I mean, come on, man. I mean, sometimes you got to beat up people in the street viciously and then come to your friend's house, kick through the wall, shoot guns into the air and go yee-hoo, 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 and then sit down. All right? So just go get him some of them. Put his gi into the washing machine, because you don't know how to wash blood out of your shirt as many times as you viciously beat people in the streets. Come on, man. Don't make me come over there and smack you, okay? You don't think of him as a threat because he's not going to kick your ass. And it's the same thing with dogs. You're not afraid of the dog. The dog loves you. But you got to remember, the dog loves you. Doesn't necessarily love everybody else. And I don't blame the dog breed. You can't just blame a whole breed of dogs because the owners are idiots. You can't do that. But what I'm saying to you, my friends, and this is your friend S. Anthony, what I'm saying to you is this. Learn the lesson from this story, which is 100% accurate, completely not fictionalized, and definitely not written specifically for this podcast as a script. Absolutely not. These dogs absolutely did all the stuff that I just said. This was absolutely not a short story written for the specific purpose of entertaining you for approximately 20 minutes. Shut up. So what I'm saying here is, listen, if you live someplace and your neighbor has dogs, like I said, sometimes the dogs are just going to run free. They're not going to be threatened. They're just going to be wonderful dogs. They may even run up to you, curious with some curiosity. They may smell you a little bit. Maybe they'll want you to pet them, right? And some dogs, well, how can I say it? They're going to eat you, right? And sometimes you can't tell. But here is the lesson that I want to teach my friends and family, which I consider you people to be. This is the lesson you need to know. If your neighbor has a pit bull and it's sitting outside, and you see the pit bull with a bib on, the pit bull puts down a plate. The pit bull pulls a knife and fork out of its fur and looks at you and beckons you to come downstairs. Just know that dog is not friendly. It's going to eat you. Every single time I've seen that happen, a dog with a plate with some parsley on the side, knife and fork, A1 sauce and a bib on, pointing at you saying, come on down, just know the dog wants to eat you. And that is my lesson for today. Yeah. Yes, Anthony helps you. All right, folks. As always, it's been a pleasure talking to you, my friends. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming back. Do me a favor, my friends. If you enjoy these little stories from yours truly, rate and review this podcast on whatever podcatcher you're listening to it on, okay? Do me a favor, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And if you know anyone else who is just as weird as you, I mean, I mean that you guys are not weird. Guys, I don't mind sucking up to my audience because you guys are the best. Okay, you're weirdos. If you know someone that's just as weird as you and almost as weird as me and would like to hear this crap every week, like you like to hear this crap every week, do me a favor, go and tell them about the show, okay? Much love to you all. I mean that literally, and I will see you again next time, if I can, because you know where I am now, there's also another pit bull. He don't have a bib or none of that kind of stuff, but you know he is looking at me funny. So if there's another show next week, it means the dog is cool. If there's no show next week, if this is my last show because I got eaten, I just want to say I loved you all and it was great. Take care. See you next time.